Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm honored to be able to close and to wrap up this conference on behalf of PGE. So I'll speak on behalf of PGE Group, but on behalf of the whole power industry, because we are the largest producer of power in Poland, over 40% of power. We have over 12% share in the heating industry. We are the largest producer of wind on land industry and energy and offshore in the Baltic. You've been deliberating on a very interesting issue, which is what green conservatism is and what we should do in this dynamic reality and how we can compete with different ideas, and also how we can implement ideas in practice, the ideas of green conservatism. So the important thing here is not only that we talk, but we also take action. Poland and the region is facing huge challenges in terms of energy transition. We in PGE reflected this in our strategy, which was announced a year and a half ago. So being zero emissions by 2050 and a consistent policy of phasing out coal. In Poland, everyone understands that changes need to be made in the power industry, but we want to do it our own way. And we've been talking to our friends and colleagues from other member states in the EU. Because there are policies decided at the European level about the green transition, but you've also read about the transition, the approach to transition in different countries in the report. So these policies should take into account individual circumstances of different countries, especially since there is war behind our border. So I think that the European politicians should rethink their policies, and this is what we are pushing. This is the agenda we're pushing. There are many young people in this room. And yesterday also this room was full of young people. So let's take over the green narrative. Let's not be afraid of that. Let's do it wisely without competing with each other on how and when we will become less pollutant with fewer emissions, and how and when we will meet the requirements of the European policies. Policies on climate. But the fact is that we all care about the environment. We all want to care, but the green conservatism stands out here because it pays attention to the social aspects. I would even say that the green conservatism is socially sensitive to social matters. Let me give you an example, something that happened over 10 months ago. A judge in the European Court of Justice suddenly made a ruling, and it was her individual decision. As a consequence, we were ordered to shut down a mine, Turów. You've certainly heard about this case. Turów provides energy to over 10% of households and businesses in Poland. And this shows that we are sensitive, socially sensitive. That we wanted to show that green transformation cannot be wild, cannot be out of control. Therefore, we embarked on a media campaign in Brussels to show to all politicians in Brussels that we do want to change, we want to decarbonize, but this cannot be done in a chaotic way. So nowadays, currently, it's important for every member state to provide energy security to their citizens, but every member state has a right to do it their own way, taking into account the specific conditions of each economy. So if the European politicians impose a unified agenda on us, which rolls all the member states into one and imposes us the same constraints to all the member states, this will bring no good. We've been saying this for a lot of time, that this is a EU of two double-paced EU. But if we have this approach to climate, this is a real and actual threat to have a Europe of two types of countries which are developing on a different rate. We, as a power industry company, have been advocating for a just transition, not a wild one, and we want it to be reasonable because this is the foundation of conservative approach to the environment. Let's not forget that conservatives are human-centered. So if you want to transform such an important industry, this should be put first. So the environmental protection cannot be stolen by just people who shout loud, the loudest activists, green activists, because we know that the loudest ones are on Russia's payroll, and this is no secret. There are proofs. So this rhetoric cannot be stolen by, taken over by these shouting people, these shouters. So please, I encourage you. Let's promote the idea of green conservatism. Let me mention the Environmental Protection League. This was the first environmental organization in Poland ever, and it was set up by conservatives in 1928. So PGE now is my company is in contact with this league to promote environmental protection. So it's not true that environmental protection is only related to leftist views. This is not true. We should get organized. We should encourage our friends and colleagues to persuade them and talk to friends, please. And I, as the president of PGA, I can assure you that we will be committed to green conservatism and any initiatives related to it. Thank you.